Such a horrible story. Louisiana Governor Bobby Jindal is joining us right now live from the scene. And Governor, thank you for spending the time. We want to send you our condolences and good wishes on this tough day to you and families and all of the community right now.
Well, thank you, Maria. Look, during these awful tragedies, our country pulls together. This is a time for prayers, for thoughts, for love for these families. You have to remember, they were at the end of their summer break. A lot of them were going to see one last movie, one comedy before school starts. We've had family members rush from across the country, cutting short their vacation plans to find out. You can imagine the panic to make sure it wasn't their child, their loved one that was hurt, or even worse, may have been fatally wounded last night. So, an horrific, horrific time. Our community is going to pull together. Look, when anybody is hurting in America, we're all hurting. This is a resilient community. It's going to be tough. There'll be a lot of tears and a lot of having to explain to kids why bad things happen to good people, but we will get through this.
And you were very quick to point out the strength and leadership of the police and the authorities there, law enforcement. I guess we learned the shooter's John Russell Hauser. He was trying to fit in? He was trying to escape, Governor. Tell us what happened and how he was stopped from escaping by law enforcement.
That's exactly right. He was actually on his way. He was trying to mingle with the crowd and get out of the theater. He had positioned his car not at a parking space, but at the exit so he could get away. He was in the crowd. The police had already arrived. Now, here, Maria, is the amazing thing. Even as they heard gunshots, they were running towards the theater, towards danger. They were nearby. It didn't take them very much time to get here at all. When the shooter saw them, he turned around, went back into the theater, ended up shooting and killing himself. Who knows how many lives their quick reaction saved. But not only that, we're hearing tales of heroism from inside. So, for example, there were two teachers, again, on the last days of their summer break, they're together watching this movie. One of the teachers jumped on the other, potentially saving her life, stopping a bullet from hitting her friend in the head. The first teacher, whose life was saved, she still got shot in the leg, but she still had the presence of mind to pull that fire alarm, even though she herself had been injured. And again, who knows how many lives she saved by doing that. I think we're going to find out more and more of these tales. I went to the emergency room to thank the doctors and nurses late last night, early this morning. And again, everybody pulling together. You see family and friends crowding the emergency room, waiting for any type of word from their friends and loved ones. It was an awful, awful, senseless tragedy, but it is, in many cases, bringing out the best in people.
Governor, let me ask you, the president, in an interview with the BBC just a couple of weeks ago, a week ago, actually, it was actually last night, he said that one of his biggest frustrations as president has been gun control. What are your thoughts on this as you run for the presidency?
Look, we're not even 12 hours. We're in the first 24 hours after this awful tragedy happened. There'll be a time, and I know folks will want to score political points off of this tragedy. Now's not the time for that. Now's the time to focus on these families. Now's the time to love them, pray for them. Look, we got mixed feelings and reactions. You got extreme anger that there's these senseless acts of violence. There's so much evil in our world. We're also extremely upset. Our hearts are breaking. I literally had to be with, I had to try to provide whatever comfort I could to families last night. I was there talking to some folks who, again, didn't know whether their loved ones had been shot, whether they'd been wounded, whether they'd been, even worse, killed. And I tell you, in those moments, your heart breaks. It makes you want to hug your children even tighter. It makes you want to protect them. But how can you stop your kids from going to a summer movie? And so in these kinds of moments, it is impossible to make sense out of the senseless. What we can do is hug these families. I know the owner of the theater wants to set up a fund to benefit these families. The best thing we can do is surround them with our love, with our prayers. We're getting messages of support from all over the country. This is an incredible country. I want to thank people for their support.
But Governor Jindal, Charleston, Chattanooga, now Lafayette. It's Dagen Mcdowell, by the way. The American people see this instance. Their hearts are broken. They pray for these families, but they say, make this stop. What do you say to that?
Look, absolutely. And look, as not only as a governor, but as a father and a husband, there's evil in this world. I mean, look, as the police have been to this man's hotel room, if they've looked in his journals, as they've talked to his family members, yeah, I'd love to tell you there was some kind of predictable pattern or reason that would help us to protect ourselves. Right, and they're still doing their investigation. They're still processing leads. It appears he was a drifter. It appears he didn't have a connection that they've discovered yet to Lafayette. He didn't have a recent criminal history. He had some charges from several years ago. Didn't appear that he knew any of his victims. And so, again, they are asking people if they have information to contact him. They've talked to his family. They've gone through his belongings. There is, unfortunately and tragically, there is evil in this world, and this is an example of that, and that's what makes it that's what makes this loss even more painful.
Yeah, Governor, good to have you on the program. Thanks very much for talking to us today on this tough day. We'll be watching your leadership, obviously, in the coming days. Thanks very much, Governor Jindal.
Thank you for your thoughts and prayers.
We'll see you soon. Bobby Jindal there. We are.